the rejection, the day everything shattered. The full moon hung heavy in the night sky, casting silver light over the ceremonial grounds of the Silver Moon Pack. Arya stood in the center of the stone circle, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst from her chest. Around her, hundreds of pack members watched in silence. Their eyes bore into her, judging, waiting, whispering. Tonight was supposed to be the happiest night of her life. Tonight, Alpha Caden would officially accept her as his mate and future Luna. They had known each other since childhood. He had promised her, years ago under this same moon, that they would always be together. But something felt wrong. Caden stood before her on the raised platform, tall and powerful in his ceremonial robes. His dark hair caught the moonlight, his strong jaw set in a hard line. Those blue eyes that once looked at her with warmth now held something cold, something final. Arya of the Silver Moon Pack. His voice rang out, formal and distant. Step forward. She did, her legs trembling. She wore a simple white dress, traditional for the mate ceremony. She had spent hours preparing, hoping to look worthy of standing beside him. Now, under all those staring eyes, she felt small, insignificant. The moon goddess binds true mates together, Caden continued, his words echoing across the silent crowd. But an alpha must choose what is best for his pack. An alpha must be strong, and his Luna must be stronger. Arya's blood ran cold. Those were not the words of acceptance. You have been weak since birth, Arya. Your wolf barely emerged during your awakening ceremony. You cannot fight. You cannot lead. You cannot protect. Each word was a knife to her heart. The Silver Moon Pack deserves a Luna who can stand beside their alpha in battle, who can bear strong airs, who can command respect. Tears burned behind Arya's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of everyone. Therefore, before the moon goddess and this pack, I, Alpha Caden Silvermoon, reject you as my mate. The words hit her like physical blows. The mate bond, already weak because she had never fully awakened her wolf, snapped. Pain tore through her chest, stealing her breath. She gasped, falling to her knees on the cold stone. The crowd remained silent. No one came to help her. Furthermore, Caden's voice continued, merciless, I choose a new mate, one worthy of being Luna. No, please no. Seraphina of the Silver Moon Pack, step forward. From the crowd emerged Arya's older sister. Seraphina was everything Arya was not. Tall, beautiful, powerful. Her wolf was one of the strongest in the pack. Her auburn hair flowed like fire down her back, and her green eyes sparkled with triumph as she climbed the platform steps. Arya looked up at her sister, disbelief and heartbreak warring in her chest. Sarah. You knew? Seraphina glanced down at her, and for just a moment, Arya saw it. The calculated coldness, the satisfaction. This was not a surprise to her sister. This was planned. I'm sorry, little sister, Seraphina said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. But the pack must come first. You understand, don't you? The poison of betrayal. Arya barely remembered being dragged from the ceremonial grounds. The pack warriors hauled her to the holding cells beneath the Alpha's mansion. Cells usually reserved for rogues and traitors. They threw her inside and locked the door, leaving her in darkness. She curled into herself on the cold floor, body shaking with silent sobs. The pain of rejection was one thing, but the betrayal that cut deeper than any wound. Her mind raced back through the years, piecing together moments she had dismissed as coincidence. 5 years ago, during her wolf awakening ceremony at age 15, Arya had been so excited. Every werewolf awakened their wolf at 15, and she had waited her whole life for this moment. The ceremony took place under the full moon, with the pack elders guiding the young wolves through their first transformation. But when Arya's turn came, nothing happened. She had stood in the circle for hours, focusing her energy, calling to the wolf inside her. The elders chanted. The moon shone down, but no transformation came, just a faint flicker, like a candle about to die, and then nothing. Defective, the pack members had whispered. Broken. How did the Alpha's mate turn out to be an Omega? Arya remembered crying herself to sleep that night, and she remembered Serafina coming to her room, holding her, promising everything would be okay. Don't worry, Arya. Some wolves just take longer to emerge. You'll transform soon, I'm sure of it. But weeks became months. Months became years. Arya's wolf never fully awakened. She remained trapped between human and wolf, too weak to transform, too weak to access the strength and healing that other pack members enjoyed. She got sick easily, tired quickly, couldn't train with the other young wolves, became the pack's Omega, the lowest rank, doing menial tasks, scorned by those who were once her friends. And through it all, Serafina had been there, supportive, loving, always bringing her tea to help her sleep, always offering advice, always. Arya's eyes widened in the darkness. The tea. Serafina had given her special tea after the awakening ceremony. To help your wolf emerge, she had said. Arya had drunk it every night for years, trusting her sister completely. But her wolf never emerged. Instead, she got weaker. No, Arya whispered into the darkness. She wouldn't. She couldn't. But even as she said it, she knew the truth. The pieces fit together too perfectly. Serafina had wanted Caden for herself, and the only way to take him was to ensure Arya was too weak to be a worthy mate. Dark magic.
Poisonetea.
Years of systematic sabotage. Her own sister had destroyed her. The council's judgment. The next morning, they dragged Arya before the pack council. She had not slept, had not eaten. Her body ached from lying on the stone floor, and her eyes were swollen from crying. The council chamber was a large circular room with high windows. 7 elders sat in tall chairs, forming a semicircle. Alpha Caden sat in the center, with Serafina beside him. She already wore the Luna's ceremonial necklace, the one that should have been Arya's. Arya's parents sat among the council members. Her father, Beta Marcus, kept his eyes down. Her mother, Helen, looked anywhere but at her youngest daughter. Arya, Elder Thomas began, his voice grave, you have been rejected by our Alpha. The mate bond is broken. According to pack law, you are no longer bound to Silvermoon. However, Elder Miriam added, her wrinkled face stern, you remain a pack member by birth. You could stay as an Omega, serving the pack in that capacity. Arya lifted her chin. Her voice came out hoarse but steady. And if I refuse? Then you will be exiled, Thomas said flatly. Cast out of pack lands. You will become a rogue with no pack protection, no territory, no rights. For someone of your weakness, Serafina spoke up, her voice sickeningly sweet. Exile would be a death sentence. Please, Arya, stay. Let me take care of you. You're my sister. I want what's best for you. The lies tasted like poison in the air. Arya looked at each council member, at the elders who had watched her grow up, at her parents who still wouldn't meet her eyes, at Caden, who sat like a stone statue, his face unreadable, at Serafina, whose eyes glittered with victory. They wanted her to stay, to be broken and obedient, to watch her sister take everything that should have been hers, to serve the pack that had thrown her away like garbage.
No.
The word rang out clear and strong. I choose exile. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Her mother finally looked at her, shock on her face. Arya, don't be foolish, her father said, speaking for the first time. You won't survive a week out there alone. Then I'll die free, Arya replied. She turned to Caden. You said I was too weak to be your Luna, too weak to protect the pack. Maybe you're right. She paused, letting her words sink in. Or maybe you were just too blind to see what was right in front of you. She looked at Serafina. Her sister's smile faltered slightly. Enjoy your victory, sister. Enjoy your alpha and your position. Arya's voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried through the silent room. But remember this, every crown sits heavy on a guilty head, and your guilt will crush you. Are you threatening the Luna? Elder Thomas demanded. No, Arya said simply. I'm making a promise. To myself. She straightened her spine, meeting each of their eyes. I will survive this. I will become stronger than any of you imagine. And one day I will return. She looked directly at Caden. And when I do, you will all regret this day. Take her to the border, Caden ordered, his voice cold. Strip her of pack bonds and cast her out. Let the forest decide her fate. Cast into the wild. They didn't even let her gather her belongings. The warriors marched her through the pack grounds in broad daylight, ensuring everyone saw. Pack members came out of their homes to watch the Omega being exiled. Some looked away in shame. Others smirked. Young children stared with wide eyes. Arya had played with some of them in the pack nursery when she helped there. Now they watched her fall from grace. This is what happens when you're weak, she heard a mother tell her child. The pack has no room for those who cannot contribute. The words should have hurt, but Arya felt numb. Beyond pain now, beyond caring what they thought. They reached the border as sunset approached. The neutral territory beyond Silvermoon lands was dangerous, full of rogues, wild animals, and packs that did not welcome strangers. Without a pack bond, Arya would have no protection. No healing. If she got injured, she would die slowly. The head warrior, a man named Drake who had trained with her father, removed her pack bond. The process was painful, like having roots torn from her soul. The connection to Silvermoon that had existed since birth was severed completely. She fell to her knees, gasping. Go, Drake said quietly. There might have been regret in his voice, but Arya was too disoriented to tell. And don't come back. If you cross this border again, you'll be killed on sight. He and the other warriors turned and left, disappearing into the forest toward home. Arya remained on her knees at the border for a long time, watching the sun sink below the trees. She had no food, no water, no supplies. She wore only the simple dress from the rejection ceremony, now dirty and torn. Her body was weak from years of suppression. Her wolf was barely a whisper in her mind. By every logical measure, she should lay down and die. Instead, she stood. Her legs shook, but she stood. I am Arya, she whispered to the darkening forest. I am the unwanted, the rejected, the forgotten. She took a step forward into the neutral territory. But I will not die here. Another step, then another. I will survive. The forest swallowed her. The sanctuary in shadow. Arya walked for hours, maybe days. Time blurred together in her exhausted state. She drank from streams, ate berries she hoped weren't poisonous, and kept moving. Always moving. If she stopped, she would collapse. And if she collapsed, she would die. Her feet bled. Her dress was in tatters. Scratches covered her arms and legs from thorns and branches. But still she walked. On what might have been the third or fourth day, she had lost count. Her body finally gave out. She collapsed in a clearing, unable to go another step. The world spun. Her vision darkened at the edges. I tried, she thought. At least I tried. She closed her eyes, prepared for death. Instead, she heard voices. Found her, a woman said. Just in time, too. Another hour and she'd be gone. Careful. She's barely holding on, a man replied. Hands lifted her gently. A water flask touched her lips. Cool liquid poured into her mouth, and she swallowed reflexively. Easy now. Slow sips. Arya's eyes fluttered open. 3 figures in dark cloaks stood over her. Their faces were shadowed by hoods, but she could see the glowing marks on their hands. Ancient pack symbols she didn't recognize. Who? Her voice was barely a whisper. Hush, child. Save your strength, the woman said. Her voice was kind but firm. You're safe now. We've been watching you since you crossed into neutral territory. You have a strong spirit to make it this far. Where? Taking me? To the Moonstone Sanctuary, the man said. A place for wolves who have been cast out, rejected, or lost. You'll be safe there. You'll heal. And if you're willing. He paused, and Arya thought she heard a smile in his voice. You might discover that you're not as weak as they told you. Arya wanted to ask more, but exhaustion claimed her. As darkness pulled her under, she felt herself being lifted and carried through the forest. For the first time since the rejection, she felt something other than pain and rage. She felt hope, awakening to truth. Arya woke in a soft bed. The ceiling above her was made of smooth stone, carved with intricate patterns that seemed to move in the flickering candlelight. She sat up slowly, her body sore but no longer in agony. She was in a small room with stone walls. Someone had cleaned her wounds and dressed her in simple but clean clothes. A pitcher of water and bowl of fruit sat on a table beside the bed. The door opened, and a woman entered. She was perhaps 60 years old, with silver hair braided down her back and warm brown eyes. She wore robes marked with the same glowing symbols Arya had seen on her rescuers. "Good, you're awake," the woman said, smiling.
I'm Elder Mira.
"Welcome to Moonstone Sanctuary." "Thank you," Arya said softly, "for saving me." "We didn't save you," Mira corrected gently. "You saved yourself by refusing to give up. We simply helped." She sat in the chair beside the bed. "Now tell me, what is your name, and why was a young wolf left to die in the neutral territory?" Arya hesitated, then decided there was no point in hiding. She told Mira everything: the rejection, the betrayal, the exile, the years of weakness that she now suspected were caused by dark magic. Mira listened without interrupting. When Arya finished, the elder was quiet for a long moment. "May I examine you?" Mira finally asked. Arya nodded. Mira placed her hand on Arya's forehead and closed her eyes. Arya felt a warm, tingling sensation spread through her body, different from anything she'd experienced before. Felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. After several minutes, Mira opened her eyes. The expression on her face was a mixture of anger and awe. "Those fools," she whispered. "Those absolute fools. What is it?" Mira stood and paced the room. "Arya, you are not weak. You are not defective. You are one of the rarest types of wolves in existence." She turned to face her. "You are a prime alpha." Arya blinked. That's not possible. Prime alphas are legends. They haven't existed for centuries." "They haven't been recognized for centuries," Mira corrected, "because wolves like you are usually killed or suppressed before they can awaken. The power of a prime alpha is immense, greater than any regular alpha. Your wolf could have challenged your sister's mate, could have become alpha yourself." She paused. "And someone knew that. Someone suppressed your wolf before it could fully awaken." Serafina Arya Brid. The tea, most likely laced with shadow root and wolfsbane, herbs that suppress transformation when given over time. Your sister poisoned you for years, keeping your true nature dormant. Myra's eyes flashed with anger, but she didn't eliminate it, just buried it deep. Can you awaken my wolf?" Mira smiled. "Child, I can do more than that. The Moonstone Sanctuary was founded to help wolves like you. Those with suppressed abilities, lost bloodlines, hidden power. We can unlock what was stolen from you." Her expression turned serious. "But I warn you, the process will not be easy. It will be painful. It will take months of training. And once your wolf awakens, you can never go back to being who you were." Arya thought of Caden's cold eyes, Serafina's triumphant smile, her parents' silence, the pack that had thrown her away like trash. "Good," she said firmly. "I don't want to go back. I want to become someone new, someone they'll never forget." Myra's smile widened. "Then welcome, Arya, to your true beginning. Tomorrow your training starts. And when we're done," she leaned forward, her eyes gleaming, "the Silver Moon pack won't know what hit them." That night, alone in her room, Arya stood at the window and looked out at the moon. It was waning now, just a silver crescent in the dark sky. "You rejected me," she whispered. "You all rejected me, called me weak, threw me away." She placed her hand over her heart, where she could feel something stirring, something powerful awakening after years of forced sleep. But I'm not weak. I never was. Her voice grew stronger. And I'm coming back. Not as the Omega you cast out. Not as the broken girl you pitted. The crescent moon seemed to glow brighter. I'm coming back as your worst nightmare. Part 2. The Transformation. The First Shift. 6 months had passed since Arya arrived at the Moonstone Sanctuary. 6 months of the most brutal training she could have imagined. Every day, she woke before dawn and trained until her body screamed for mercy. And every day she pushed harder. Today was different. Today, Elder Mira said she was ready for her first true shift. They stood in a circular clearing deep in the sanctuary's protected forest. The full moon hung overhead, bathing everything in silver light. Around the clearing, other sanctuary wolves watched in silence. They had all heard about the Prime Alpha who was about to awaken. "Remember your training," Mira said, standing beside Arya. "Don't fight the transformation. Welcome it. Your wolf has been caged for too long. Let her out." Arya closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She could feel her wolf now. Not the weak whisper from before, but a powerful presence. A roar waiting to be unleashed. For 6 months, they had worked to break down the barriers created by years of poison. Meditation to clear her mind. Herbal remedies to flush the toxins from her system. Physical training to rebuild her strength. Mental exercises to connect with her dormant wolf. It had been agony. There were days she cried from the pain. Days she wanted to give up. Days she wondered if she would ever truly transform. But every time doubt crept in, she remembered. Caden's rejection. Seraphina's betrayal. The pack's mocking laughter. Her parents' silence. And the doubt turned to rage. The rage fueled her forward. Now, standing in this clearing, she felt her wolf rise to the surface like a wave. Not a trickle. Not a whisper. A tsunami of power that made her gasp. "That's it," Mira encouraged. "Let her come." Arya's body began to change. Her bones shifted, but unlike the stories of painful transformations, this felt natural, like slipping into clothes that fit perfectly. Her senses exploded. She could smell everything, hear everything, feel everything. Her hands became paws. Her body stretched and reformed. Silver fur rippled across her skin, shimmering in the moonlight. And then it was complete. Arya opened her eyes, now golden and glowing, and looked down at herself. She was massive, larger than any wolf she had ever seen. Her fur was pure silver, gleaming like moonlight made solid. Power thrummed through every muscle. The watching wolves gasped. Several dropped to their knees in submission. "A Prime Alpha," someone whispered in awe. Mira smiled, tears in her eyes. "Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful." She approached and placed her hand on Arya's large head. "How do you feel?" Arya shifted back to human form, the transformation smooth and effortless. She stared at her hands, then up at Mira. "I feel." She searched for the right word. "Complete. For the first time in my life, I feel complete." "Your wolf's name?" Mira asked. "Did she tell you?" Arya smiled, and it was not a kind smile. "Silverstrike. Her name is Silverstrike." The name echoed through the clearing, and the watching wolves howled in recognition. A new Prime Alpha had awakened. The balance of power had shifted. Building the Phantom Pack. Word spread quickly through the neutral territories. A Prime Alpha had emerged at the Moonstone Sanctuary. Rejected wolves, rogues, and outcasts began arriving, seeking to join her. Arya interviewed each one personally. She sat in the sanctuary's great hall, now wearing the dark clothes of a warrior instead of her tattered dress. Her silver hair, which had turned completely silver after her awakening, was braided back from her face. The first to arrive was a scarred man named Marcus. He knelt before her, his head bowed. "Stand," Arya said. "I don't need you to kneel. I need you to fight." Marcus stood, surprise on his weathered face. "You're different from other alphas. I was rejected, cast out, left to die," Arya said simply. "Why would I treat others the way I was treated?" She studied him, Why were you cast out? I challenged my alpha when he ordered us to attack a weaker pack for sport. He said I was disloyal, stripped me of my rank and exiled me. Marcus met her eyes. I'm a warrior, but I'm not a murderer. Can you train others? Yes, Alpha. Then you're my first commander. Help me build an army of wolves who were thrown away. Show them they're worth something. Marcus bowed his head, but this time in respect, not submission. I serve the Phantom Pack. The name had come to Arya in a dream. The Phantom Pack. Wolves who were supposed to disappear, but instead would haunt those who wronged them. Next came Elena, a young woman barely 20 years old. She had been rejected by her mate for being too rebellious. I wouldn't submit to his every command, Elena explained, anger flashing in her green eyes. He wanted a decoration, not a partner. So he rejected me and chose someone more obedient. Can you fight? Arya asked. I can learn, then learn, and teach other rejected mates that their strength is not rebellion. It's survival.
Elena grinned.
Yes, Alpha. One by one they came. Rejected mates, exiled warriors, wolves whose packs had been destroyed, orphans with nowhere else to go. By the end of the first month, Arya had 50 wolves pledged to her. By the end of the third month, she had 200. They trained in the sanctuary's vast grounds. Marcus taught combat techniques he had learned over 30 years as a warrior. Elena organized the younger wolves and taught them pack tactics. Others contributed their own skills, tracking, healing, strategy. But Arya taught them something more important than fighting. She taught them unity. We are not bound by blood, she told them during their first gathering as a complete pack. We are bound by rejection, by pain, by the strength it took to survive when the world wanted us to die. She looked at each face in the crowd. The packs that threw us away thought we were weak, worthless, broken. Her voice rose. They were wrong. We are the wolves they couldn't break. We are the survivors. We are the Phantom Pack. And we will show the world what we're truly made of. The howls that answered her shook the trees. The intelligence network. While training her pack, Arya did not forget her primary goal. Revenge on those who had betrayed her. But she was not foolish. She would not attack blindly. She needed information. That's when she met Raven. Raven was a small, quick wolf with dark hair and even darker eyes. She had been a spy for her old pack before they betrayed her and tried to kill her. She escaped and found her way to the Phantom Pack. I hear you want information on the Silvermoon Pack, Raven said, appearing silently in Arya's study one evening. Arya looked up from the maps she had been studying. You hear correctly. I can get it for you. I have contacts throughout the territories. Other spies, rogues who trade information, wolves who work inside various packs. Raven smiled. For the right cause, they'll talk. And what cause is that? Bringing down corrupt alphas who abuse their power. Raven's smile faded. Silvermoon's reputation is not good among the neutral territories. Caden is known for being weak and easily manipulated. His new Luna is known for being cruel. Many wolves would be happy to see them fall. Then let's give them what they want. Arya gestured to a chair. Sit. Tell me everything you know, and then tell me everything you can find out. Over the next 2 months, Raven built an intelligence network that rivaled any major packs. She recruited former servants from Silvermoon who had been dismissed unfairly, traders who passed through the territory and heard rumors, scouts who watched the borders, even a few current pack members who were unhappy with their Alpha and Luna's leadership. The information they gathered painted a clear picture. Silvermoon Pack was failing. Caden's military strategy is outdated, Raven reported during one of their meetings. He relies on the same tactics his father used 30 years ago. He's lost 3 border skirmishes in the past 4 months. What about internal stability? Arya asked. Terrible. Serafina plays favorites, promotes wolves based on loyalty to her rather than skill. She's created factions within the pack. Warriors don't trust each other. The pack is divided. Marcus, who sat in on these meetings, shook his head. A divided pack is a weak pack. One good push and they'll crumble from the inside. Their supply routes are also vulnerable, Raven continued. They have 3 main routes for bringing in food and supplies. They're poorly guarded because Caden pulled warriors from supply duty to guard his personal quarters. He's paranoid about assassination attempts. Arya absorbed all of this information. A plan was forming in her mind. She would not just attack Silvermoon. She would dismantle it piece by piece. Make them weak. Make them paranoid. Make them turn on each other. And when they were at their weakest, she would strike. Begin phase 1, she ordered. Target their supply routes. Don't kill anyone. I don't want them to know we're serious yet. Just raid their supplies. Make them hungry. Make them uncomfortable. Raven grinned. It will be my pleasure, Alpha. The first strikes. The raids began during the new moon, when darkness was deepest. Small teams from the Phantom Pack, led by Raven and Marcus, struck at Silvermoon's supply caravans. They moved like ghosts, silent, efficient, gone before anyone realized what happened. They took food, medicine, weapons, left the guards alive but confused. Who's attacking us? The guards reported back to Caden. We didn't see their faces, didn't hear them coming. They were just there and then gone. The first raid was dismissed as rogues getting lucky. The second raid raised concerns. By the 5th raid, panic had set in. Silvermoon's council held an emergency meeting. Raven had a spy in the room, a servant who no one noticed, who reported back everything that was said. We can't protect all 3 supply routes with our current forces, Commander Drake argued. We need to consolidate. If we consolidate, we'll starve, another elder countered. We need those supplies from all 3 territories. Then we hire mercenaries, Seraphina suggested. Pay rogues to protect our caravans. Rogues are unreliable, Caden said, sounding tired. They'll take our money and abandon us when things get difficult. Do you have a better solution? Seraphina snapped. The spy reported that Caden had no answer. The Alpha who once seemed so strong and confident was floundering. The pressure of leadership, combined with his mate's constant criticism, was breaking him down. Meanwhile, the Phantom Pack continued their raids, but they added a new element: messages. After each raid, they left a mark carved into a tree or painted on a rock, a silver wolf's paw print, and beneath it, a single word that changed each time. First raid, remember. Second raid, judgment. Third raid, coming. The messages terrified Silvermoon Pack more than the raids themselves. Someone was sending them a warning. Someone who had not forgotten. Someone who was coming for them. Caden became obsessed with finding out who was behind the attacks. He pulled more warriors from Border Patrol to guard the supply routes. This weakened Silvermoon's defenses in other areas. Neighboring packs, sensing vulnerability, began pushing at Silvermoon's borders. Small territorial disputes turned into skirmishes. Skirmishes turned into battles. Silvermoon was fighting on multiple fronts, and they were losing. Perfect, Arya said when Raven reported all of this. They're exactly where I want them. Weak, divided, desperate. The psychological game. But Arya's revenge was not just about military victory. It was personal. She wanted Caden and Seraphina to suffer the way she had suffered. She wanted them to feel fear, betrayal, and helplessness. So she began the psychological warfare. First, she sent a letter, not to the pack's official address, but to Caden's private chambers. Raven had a contact who worked in the Alpha's mansion, a maid who remembered Arya with kindness and was happy to help. The letter was simple. Did you ever wonder why your perfect Luna's magic was so strong? Ask her about the shadow root she used. Ask her about the tea she gave her sister for 5 years. Ask her about the dark magic she practiced in secret. Ask her how she stole what was never meant to be hers. A reckoning is coming, Caden. And this time, you won't be able to reject your way out of it. The letter was not signed, but Caden would know. Deep down, he would know who sent it. Raven reported that Caden confronted Seraphina that night. The argument was explosive. Serafina denied everything, of course, but the seed of doubt was planted. Caden began watching his mate more carefully, questioning her decisions, pulling away. Serafina, feeling her control slipping, became even more paranoid and controlling. She accused pack members of disloyalty, had several wolves who questioned her authority thrown in the holding cells. The pack's morale plummeted further. Next, Arya sent letters to Arya's parents. These were more detailed. She described every moment of pain from her rejection. Every night she went to bed hungry as an Omega. Every insult she endured. Every time she called for them and they turned away. You chose your stronger daughter and let your weaker one die. But I didn't die. I became stronger than both of you combined. When I return, will you turn away again? Or will you finally see what you lost? Her mother reportedly cried for days after reading the letter.